Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from the third group. In this occasion, we will explain about major genre in literature, poetry. The members of the third group are Mulyadi, Naila Turipa Rusmana, Neng Sri Nopi, and Pupung Rustika. Okay, the verse is about definition of poetry. Poetry is one of the oldest genres in literary story, and since ancient Greek literary times, it's closely related to the term lyric, which is etymologically derived from the Greek musically instrument rila or reel or harp, and points to the origin in the field of music in classical times as well as in the age. Singer received poetry accompanied by harps or other musical instruments. The poem itself is divided into two. First is narrative poetry, means reveals a story or description of a poem and covers genres such as long epic poetry. Therefore, this poem is divided into several kinds, namely ballads and romance. The second is poetry lyric, poetry that expresses the poet's personal ideas. This type of poetry are elegy, ode, and chorus. And the characteristic of poetry, lyric poetry is shorter. The focus of the following commentary mainly related to one event, impression, or idea. Okay, here the verse is thematic lexical dimension. Thematic lexical dimension is poetry that tries to see the theme in the real language of the description. Real image and object often represent symbols, while simile is a comparison between two different things that use conjunctions such as like, then, as, and compare. Picture and concrete objects can serve as additional symbols. Poets can use conventional symbols that are commonly known or create versional symbols that develop their symbolic functions in specific contexts. The albatross in Samuel Taylor Coleridge's The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, 1798, for example, is a private symbol in the course of the poem. The murdered bird becomes a symbol of natural order which has been destroyed by man. Further stylistic features include rhetorical figures or figures of speech. In poetry, the most common use of similes and metaphors. Similes are two different things connected by like, then, as, or compare, as in Robert Burns' 1759 until 96 poem A Red Rose, 1796. Oh, my love is like a red rose that's newly spring and June. My love is like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. Then a metaphor is the similarity of one thing to another without an actual comparison. For example, to see a word in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. A grain of sand is used as a metaphor for the world, a flower for the sky, and so on, in the metaphor and in the smell. Two elements are juxtaposed, the tenor, or the person, object, or idea, to which the physical or image is equated or compared. And oh, my love is like a red rose. My love functions as the tenor and red rose as the vehicle. The second is visual dimension. The conventions are part of interesting subject called typography. The visuality of the poem is made possible by type. The six constituents of type are shape, size, weight, width, posture, and color. Let us discuss each of them as briefly as possible. The first is shape. Shape, or the shape of the letters of a certain type family, say Times New Roman, will be very different from that of any other, say Helvetica. Type may be monotonal or skeletal, serif or sans serif. The second, size. Typographers refer to size as font. A hierarchy of font may be seen in broadsheets. The banner headline is larger than the normal headline, which is larger than the subhead, which is larger than the body text. Size is a vertical measure in the color of the clear sky and the deep sea. It's located between violet and green on the optical spectrum. The third, weight. Type may be bold, light, or extra bold, or any shade of gray. Normally, headlines are set in bold type and body text in light type. The fourth is width. This is a horizontal measure. The lowercase alphabet length of a type family determines the weight of a headline, so one can have a headline that is normal, extended, or condensed. The fifth, posture. A word or phrase can be said in a type that is Roman, upright, or italic slanted. Italic are normally used for emphasis. And last is color. Text is normally set in gray, but in multimedia advertising and interactive websites, colors is what catches the eyes. The third is rhythmic acoustic dimension. Rhythmic acoustic dimension in poetry acoustic rhythms are pervasive in speech, music, and environmental sounds. The acoustic element can enhance the meaning of a poem by choosing certain words in a line or stanza. A poem can produce a sound or tone that is directly related to the content of the statement. Device in acoustic dimension of poetry, there are two devices, meter and rhythm. Of the acoustic dimension in poetry that hold a dominant position in analysis of poem that is easy to objectify and measure. Alright, the first is meter, a regular pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables that defines the rhythm of wit, wisdom, some poetry. The study and use of meter in poetry is known as prosody. A poem can use a single meter throughout, or it can have different meters in different places. Meter can be analyzed on the level of a whole poem, a stanza, a line, or even a single put. Smallest element of meter are syllables, that are the units of sound that contract word, which divides a basic framework for poetry. Syllables can either be stressed or unstressed. Stressed syllables are typically longer than unstressed syllables. The technical term for the process of analysis of matter is known as scansion. In literature, it means to divide the poetry or poetic form into feet by pointing out different syllables based on their length, and is also known as scanning. Example, the woods are lovely, dark, and deep. According to the sequence of stressed and unstressed, a line can be divided into a basic unit of measurement of essential syllabic matter. Feet contain one stress and at least one unstressed syllable. Four important feet are first lambus or iambic foot. is an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllabus. For example, the cure. The second, anapost or anapostic food is two unstressed syllables followed by one stressed syllable. For example, andescent. The third, trochee or trochaic food is a stressed syllable followed by an unstressed syllable. For example, there, they. The last, dactyl or dactylic food is one stressed syllabus followed by two unstressed syllables. For example, just for. According to the number of feet, it's possible to distinguish monometer, dimeter, trimeter, tetrameter, pentameter, and hexameter. Okay, maybe that's all the explanation about major genre in literature, poetry. Thank you very much for your nice attention, and the last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.